This is a Remington rolling block in 413 Egyptian. Today I'm going to show you how to take this apart. First, ensure that the weapon is clear. To do that on the rolling block, cock the hammer and then open up the breech block. Inspect the bore, make sure nothing's in there. Close the breech block, safely let down the hammer. You'll notice on this particular one I'm missing the firing pin and I'm missing the firing pin retainer. I'm going to have to make new ones for that. Next, we're going to remove the cleaning rod. This may unscrew or may not unscrew. Make sure it comes out freely. This one's a little bent. It comes out a little rugged. You can see looking down it. It's not exactly the cleanest, straightest cleaning rod, but it works. Set that to the side. Next, we're going to remove the barrel bands. Push on the retainer. Slide the barrel band forward. Turn it to get it by the bayonet lug in the front sight and off. Repeat the same for the second and third barrel band. With the barrel bands removed, turn the rifle upside down. Starting at the front of the rifle, up here, you're going to want to lift. Be very careful. This is a very fragile piece of wood. And then once you lift it up a little bit, you're going to pull it straight out towards the front and remove it. With the correct size screwdriver, you're going to undo the screw on the back of the tang that holds the buttstock to the receiver. The buttstock should come off straight back. One thing that's important to note is keep the pins with the correct pieces that they were with when you took them out of the receiver, so that you can put them back together. Once you get the trigger assembly out, there's 3 springs, one here, remove with this screw, one underneath for the trigger, and then one up here for the block spring close. The trigger comes out by removing the pin, and the retainer for the block comes out. Trigger comes out the top. The 2 pins are 2 different sizes. Now we can get to that last spring. One other thing to note is that once you get the receiver stripped, you can get down inside here and you can get to the nut that holds the cleaning rod in. If you look down inside of it, you can see it's threaded to accept the cleaning rod. But I'm going to leave this one in. No need to take it out right now. But it is very shallow threads. So reassembly is pretty much the same as disassembly, just the reverse order. The only thing I like to do a little different from the way I took this one apart is I like to put in this first with this pin before I put its spring in, just because that way you don't have to fight the spring. So I'll get the pin started. I'll get the lifter in and lined up. And then we'll drive this pin in. Make sure it goes flush with the rest of the steel, or you won't be able to fit it into the receiver. Make sure it's flush on both sides and not sticking out. Next we'll put that spring in. This one's going to go with the curve up so that it pushes up on the block. Retaining piece, put the screw in. Check that it springs freely. Drop the trigger in. Line it up with the hole. Add the pin. Again, make sure that it's flush on both sides. Add the trigger spring back in. Make sure the trigger spring works. Add the main spring back in. When putting the mainspring back in, make sure it's lined up in the center. Keep a couple fingers there while tightening it down. Again, make sure it's lined up down the center. There we go, the trigger mechanism's back together. Okay, next we're going to put the ejector back in. Small slot down here. Slide it in, push it in all the way. Turn the receiver over. Get the ejector retaining screw in place. Screw that down. Next we'll put the receiver trigger assembly in. I like to line up the forward hole first. Get the screw in place. I like to get it started, but not all the way down. Then you're gonna, because the spring is acting on this pin that's stayed on the inside, and there's tension, when you put the second screw in, you're gonna have to line everything up, get the screw in, and keep a little pressure with your thumb on the back while you get the screw started. Try not to slip off the screws. Mar the finish. I don't know, if you're like me, I can't use a screwdriver with my left hand. So get these down again, bottom them out, but don't crank on them. Go back and finish getting the forward one tightened down. And now we have that in. Next we're going to put the hammer in. We're going to get it in, and we'll get it started. You may have to squeeze the trigger a little bit to get everything to fall into place. Once you get the hammer in, go ahead and cock it all the way back. Now we'll put the block in. This one you may have to wiggle around a little bit to get it to line up. I found that if I let it ride in a little high and I push on the back of it, it seems to get it pretty close. And it usually takes a little bit of wiggling with some pressure, and then the pin will just drop in. Make sure both pins are flush. Get your retaining bar, put that in place. Your retaining bar screw. Hold on to the retaining bar while you tighten the screw. Again, This does not need to be gorillaed. It just needs to be down good. Once it comes to a full stop, stop there, and you're good. Then we'll do a function check, make sure that the block opens and shuts. It should spring shut because of the spring that's down in here. Also, your extractor should pop out when it's fully open. Let the hammer down, pull back a little bit, check the half cock, full cock, release. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Patchogue Firearms Restoration, where we took apart this Remington #1 rolling block in 413 Egyptian. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for the next set of videos coming out. I got an Italian Vetterli in 6.5 Carcano, a Mosin Nagant, and a Swiss K31 that we're going to be doing videos on. Thanks and have a great day.